What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are here for a new episode of our Madden 20 Realistic Rebuild series. We're getting to the end. There is 5 teams left, and today we're doing the Minnesota Vikings. It's just a matter of time. I'm trying to balance it out. We have the Vikings, Seahawks, Panthers, Jets, and Chiefs left. And obviously, out of those teams, the Panthers and the Jets are the two more deserving of a rebuild. So those are kind of the ones I want to build up a little bit, because obviously you look at Minnesota, yeah, definitely is a team that's not quite there, needs some rebuild, but Seattle, yeah, really everyone outside of the Kansas City Chiefs is a somewhat interesting rebuild. But what we've seen here in this series is that when we take over the more stacked teams, like when we do the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, they're already set, they got the franchise core, then it becomes rebuilding and trying to manage the salary cap, because then that's when you get hit with, oh my God, it's free agency, and I am in the red by $10 million. So I will say probably after this Vikings rebuild, we're going to get the Chiefs ones out of the way, because the Chiefs one, I would argue, like for myself, it shouldn't be a hard rebuild, but it could be. But Minnesota, I think it's in the middle. It shouldn't be an overly, they have lots of talent on the roster. They're an 80 overall, which is not outrageous. It's a good starting point. Looking at the roster here at quarterback, we have Kirk Cousins, 83, obviously very expensive contract. Probably peaked in terms of his development, and I don't think I've ever seen him play generally well in a Madden franchise sim. So, you know, I do think we're probably going to have to focus on quarterback, but knock on wood that Kirk Cousins plays really well. You know, there's a chance. Running back, we have Dalvin Cook, superstar X Factor in real life. Things are not looking great from a contract standpoint. As a former running back myself, I think all running backs, I think something new needs to come in the CBA, that running back contracts are fully guaranteed, so that when they get, because the whole thing with the rookie running backs right now, or just drafting and playing good running backs, is teams just want them on the rookie deal, and then they're down and they're going to draft the next one, and then you have all these running backs that are threatening sitting out, and they're never going to get big money. I just think a way around that would be kind of modifying the running back, the contracts, and setting a precedent that, like, the rookie contract and all that stuff needs to be like guaranteed, and there needs to be accelerators in the contract, because of the lifespan of the position is significantly lower than like any other position in the NFL. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do, because Madison was solid, definitely looked solid. I had him as, you know, as a handcuff in my fantasy football league for any time Dalvin Cook wasn't playing. But I mean, there's a big difference between having Dalvin Cook on the field and having Madison on the field. But for this rebuild, it's gonna be good having that 1-2 punch. And I'll tell you right now, the plan is to keep Dalvin Cook, but in real life, it will be very interesting to see how that plays out there for the Vikings. In terms of, you know, you always want to kind of clear salary when you can. We'll get rid of Abdullah. We don't need 4 running backs. We'll hang on to Mike Boone. Wide receiver, we got Adam Thielen, 91, superstar X-Factor player. I don't know if he should have that superstar ability entering next year, or as we get ready for the Madden 21. I probably would have him at superstar, and I'm a big fan of Adam Thielen. Obviously, you love when you see guys from Minnesota State kind of coming out of nowhere and emerging. I think he's one of the best route runners in the National Football League. But it was just a little bit of an off year. He had some injuries, but even when he was, you know, I don't know if he was 100% healthy. He just, I don't know. But for this, he is a superstar X Factor, and I am not going to complain. But no more Stephon Diggs. We're using, at the conclusion of the 2020 draft, as our starting point. So no Stephon Diggs. They have Sharp coming over from the Titans, but Justin Jefferson out of LSU. This is a big one. This is going to be a guy that we need to develop. We need him to be the replacement, the heir to Stephon Diggs sooner than later. I don't know what the dev trade is. I hope it's something good, but he's going to get plenty of snaps as a rookie. You got BC Johnson, who surprised in his rookie year out of Colorado State. There might be something there. They got Courtney Davis. I always loved the Minnesota Viking drafts. Since I've been covering the draft, I think there's only maybe been 1 year that I wasn't like, Minnesota's like a top 5 favorite draft for me. They always get really, really good prospects. So clearly they watch my videos. That's all I can surmise from that. At the tight end spot, we have Kyle Rudolph, who's solid. We have Irv Smith Jr., who's more so going to be the long-term option. The normal dev kind of stings, but he's only 22.77. Yeah, you know, for right now, we could debatably throw Rudolph on the trade block. I will do that just to see if there's something like a really good offer. You know, and I'll put my foot down if we get like a first rounder. I'm not going to make something stupid just and you know, abuse the trade system. But clearly, Irv Smith Jr. is going to be our long-term tight end, even though Kyle Rudolph, arguably best tight end Vikings have ever had, if not, you know, top 3. Offensive line, we got Riley Reif, just a horrible contract, easily the biggest contract we want to try to get out of. They got Ezra Cleveland out of Boise State. He will be our starting left tackle, the rookie. Elfline at guard. We got Garrett Bradbury at center. That was a great draft pick last year. We got Drew Samia at guard from Oklahoma, and then Brian O'Neill at tackle. So it's a young offensive line. So it should be something that we try to keep intact and try to develop. I don't know if Zimmer has the O-line XP package, but that'll be the first thing we buy, because O'Neill, Samia, Bradbury, Elflein, and Ezra Cleveland. I'm going to try to keep all 5 of those guys together and see if we can get them into the 80s and make them one of the better units in the National Football League. Defensive end, you have Daniil Hunter. Awesome. One of my favorite defensive ends in the league. And he's a beast. 89 Superstar X Factor. Rightfully so, a Superstar X Factor. Opposed to that, though, we don't got a whole lot. Wanham was a solid pick in the draft. Kenny Willekes was a solid pick in the draft. I'll probably put Willekes at the other starting spot. D-tackle, we got Michael Pierce coming up from the Baltimore Ravens. Great run stuffer. Outside of that, I'm going to just kind of pull my bias again. I loved James Lynch out of Baylor, so I'm going to have James Lynch be the starter with Michael Pierce. Linebacker core, we got Ben Gideon, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr. They got Troy Dye out of Oregon, so we have plenty of linebacker depth. In the secondary, it's definitely a transitioning period. Used to, Rhodes closed, but then Xavier Rhodes had like one of the biggest fall-offs I've ever seen, from playing like top 5 to literally, you're horrible, you're a liability. So we got Mike Hughes here, 74 star. We got Jeff Gladney, who if you watch any of my draft videos for this 2020 draft, I was a huge Jeff Gladney homer, 73 hidden dev. Holton Hill, Cameron Dantzler, Harrison Hand. I mean, phenomenal picks. Finding a way to come up with Gladney, Dantzler, and Hand in one draft was outstanding work from the Vikings general manager. Safety, we had Anthony Harris, 82 star, Pro Football Focus darling. He is 28, but still a very solid player. Don't have to worry about replacing him. And then strong safety, you got the old reliable Superstar X Factor reinforcement, Harrison Smith. But he is 31. Time's coming to an end there for him. So we sooner than later probably another position that we want to draft. If there's a studly strong safety, rounds 2, rounds 3, might have to draft it and just get that insurance policy ready for when it comes to that awkward time when we're going to move on from Harrison Smith. But interesting roster. I don't know how the Kirk Cousins thing's going to pan out, but that's what we're doing the rebuild for, so let's get into it. So obviously there's going to be some outrageous offers. We got first rounders stuff. I'm trying to take the most realistic, so I think it'll be this Washington one. I mean, they're desperate for a tight end, so we're getting a 2nd round pick next year, a 4th round pick, and a 6th round pick for the upcoming draft. So I think that's somewhat good value, and it kind of just, speeds up the process of making Irv Smith our starter. But thank you, Kyle Rudolph, obviously a Viking legend. With point 2 and 4, a little bit of a slow start. Not as bad as the Bears. Still 2 games within the lead there with the Detroit Lions, so it's not completely over. Actually, let's just do this. Let's sim, because this is 2 huge games. Green Bay and Detroit in the next 2 weeks. So we get a big 38-21 victory over Green Bay. Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns. Sure. I think we pull it together here and get a massive... Actually, let's upgrade our players real quick. I've been trying to make everyone a scheme fit, whatever. Win against Detroit, and we're 500. And we've definitely turned the season around, showing that we can compete with the top teams in the division. Against we get it done. There we go. 24-8. So now it's time to look at our player contracts. Who's deserving a contract? Well, you have Dalvin Cook. I'm not going to mess around. We are going to pay you what you want. Essentially, keep you here till you're 30. Beautiful. We got Anthony Harris, another guy. Definitely think he's worth his rating. Hopefully, he goes up a couple points so that, we can get out of that contract, that 3-year contract with him still in the 80s. If he can get up to like an 84, 85 over the next year or so, that's not a bad contract. That was where you start getting to, like, there's some solid players, but I trust my drafting to get better ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, Holton Hill is only 23, so he still definitely has his best football ahead of him. We'll give him a 5-year deal. He's a scheme fit already. Sharp, we can do better. Elfline's a tricky one, because that's not a cheap contract. 4-year, $21 million for a 70, but he does have the dev trait. Keep him till he's 30. I don't think he's going to be that bad of an option. Then we got Ben Gideon, 74 outside linebacker. Do we pay him? What's he looking for? Long term. Give him something like a 4-year. It's $3 million. But then we could just as easily put Troy Dye there. So actually, I feel like we have the replacement for Ben Gideon. We'll make sure we re-sign Anthony Harris. And we'll actually Ben Gideon starting snaps. I'll give it to Troy Dye so we can get that extra development. At the end of year one hell of a way to finish it. Getting our first divisional title, 11-5. I did not see that when we were when we were basically 3rd place in the division at the bye. Like, how many? Like, I want to see the tear. I think we lost 1 game of our final, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-1 in our final 10 games. Okay, we're going in the playoffs with some momentum. First round bye. Let's just figure who we're going to be taking on in the divisional round here. And it's going to be the 9-7 Seattle Seahawks. Am I worried? That's all I can say. I'm giving them the Ed Bassmaster. Don't think so. But how do we get here? Well, do we have dev traits unlocked? Let's see. So first up, we have Justin Jefferson. He came out star dev. We're kind of waiting to see on that. On the defensive side, Jeff Gladney came out star dev. So that's not phenomenal, but it could be worse, right? They could have just had normal dev traits. Looking at the stats, Kirk Cousins played all right. Not living up to that $100 million contract, but Dalvin Cook show. Definitely stole the show. Glad we got him locked up to a long-term deal. 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. 805 for Jefferson, 8-5 for Adam Thielen, 7-2 for Sharp. Irv Smith, 7 touchdowns on the year. Yards aren't great. Defensively, Eric Kendricks over 100 tackles. We over 100 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 picks for Anthony Barr. 11.5 sacks, Daniil Hunter. 6.5, Michael Pierce. I mean, really, I'm not upset with these numbers, generally speaking. Would have been nice to maybe see Jeff Gladney get a couple picks, but I'm happy. I'm generally happy. Russell Wilson is the MVP. Great. We're taking on the MVP in our first playoff round. That is awesome. Offensive player of the year went to Russell Wilson. You got Jamie Collins. And the Minnesota Vikings. Not one. Not one. We're the sleeper team. That's fine. Because we're going to go in and we're going to beat the MVP in our own house. All right, let's get after it. Let's get after it. Let's see the MVP and let's introduce him to Daniil Hunter. Let's introduce him to, maybe a wild Harrison Smith blitz. Give him something to think about. We have the defense capable of dealing with a Russell Wilson, an MVP. So let's go out and do the thing. Tied up at 14. Pretty back and forth here in the first half. Seattle able to get the go-ahead touchdown right before halftime, get that momentum. But we're able to come back here in the third quarter, get a field goal, shave down that lead just a little bit. But unfortunately, we've been the only team that has settled for a field goal here. Every time Seattle has gone down the field, they have scored. Defense gets a good stop. Goddamn, Kirk Cousins, come on. Clutch game. 3-point lead, 46 seconds to go. The defense stands tall, 31-28. We get the job done. 4 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins out-dueling the league MVP as Minnesota in year 1 has got their ticket to the NFC Championship game. Championship game in year 1 is the Vikings against the Niners. I mean, 2 playoff teams in real life from a year ago. Happy to see the Niners there. They're a really solid team. Jimmy Garoppolo and company, really strong running attack. And they are starting out fairly hot. They have a game plan to go against our defense, and it looks to be effective. And their defense is kind of shutting down our offense as we have, we're down 3-0 in terms of touchdowns. We got a lot of field goals, though. You looking for field goals, Bo? We got Dan Bailey just kicking them through the uprights here. My God, we can't buy time. That's embarrassing. Well, there's always next year. Free agency, I'm actually kind of in the market for, this is a really good free agency class. It's Kittle, Kamara, Marcus Williams, Kareem Hunt, Juju's there, AJ Green. There's some pretty big names. I need an edge rusher, though. There's no one that's a scheme fit. I was thinking about Tack McKinley, but I've got him before. I think I've signed him in 2 different rebuilds, and he's never been good. He's a guy that gets 7, 8 sacks at the most, and generally, he's 5'6". So yeah, maybe we'll just, hold on to our money right now and try to gamble with some of the young guys. I mean, that's not a lot of money anyways. Wouldn't be able to get one of these upper echelon guys. So yeah, we'll chill. We'll chill, bro. Okay, so looking at a draft recap. Pretty happy with my draft. Not a lot of crazy base ratings, but I do think top to bottom, we got some great players really outside of Watson. Unfortunately, it's going to be that. We got Ventrell Mel in the 6th, Mooring out of TCU in the 5th. We got a 62 guard. We got KJ Costello, Stanford transfer, Mississippi State, 62. We got Charleston Ramos, 68. Wow, that's good value. 21-68 in the 4th round. Kayuth, I don't know how to pronounce it, but really undersized, but pretty good playmaker for Utah in the couple games I watched him last year. We got Hufanga. This was the pick that we got essentially for the highest pick this year. Anyways, that was included in the Kyle Rudolph trade. I don't know if he's going to be the heir to Harrison Smith, but there's some upside there for sure. In the 3rd round, we got Thomas Graham Jr., 70 hidden dev corner out of Oregon, which is a good get. We didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Mike Hughes, so it's good cover to have another body in there. We got Aiden Hutchinson, 64. but he's a hidden dev out of Michigan. 6'6", 285, might be worth the gamble. Absolutely might be worth the gamble just to play him right on the D-line and try to maximize that hidden depth trade, because we don't really have anyone outside of Daniel Hunter, and really I didn't want to gamble money on Takk McKinley in free agency, so that's a massive gap for him to kind of close, but it's, you know, if he plays well, I wouldn't be shocked if we can get 10 overall points in 1 year. And then we got Rashad Bateman, staying with local. We got Minnesota, 70 hidden dev. I thought personally, like, you know, Tyler Johnson was coming to Minnesota in the draft that just happened in the 2020 draft, and people were shocked that I always thought Bateman was a better player, and very interesting player to come in and pair long-term with Justin Jefferson, but for right now, with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. So for year 2, here's where we're up 1 overall point, which is, you know, you're only going up. Kirk Cousins, 81. We got Cook, Thielen. Jefferson's up to a 77. Bateman, hidden dev. Offensive line, the exact same starters. Returning defensively, pretty much the exact same thing. The computer signed Mario Addison, which is weird because I want Hutchinson to be playing at defensive end. I hate when it does that. I have roster minimums, and it still will find a way to sign it, even though I have it clearly turned off. But we'll have Hutchinson play at defensive end. We'll gamble with the young guy that he can develop into something. And yeah, our starters are pretty much the same. Definitely expecting, hopefully not as slow of a start, but the same kind of result in getting back-to-back divisional titles to start this rebuild off. At the bye, kind of, you know, roughly where we were last year. We're 4-5, 2 games back, but again, if we can finish strong like we did in year 1, we should have a solid chance at contending for the NFC North at least. Player contracts, you can see we got Harrison Smith right off the rip. I think he's a guy that's going to hold on to his rating. I mean, at the end of that 3-year deal, obviously he's going to regress, but he'll still probably be 83, 84. So we'll make sure we can get him locked up. I think Brian O'Neill's, even with no dev trade, is still a solid tackle. I think we can work with that. It's not a brutal deal. Maybe if it was a little bit cheaper, it'd be better. But I think we'll come back for him. Same with Mike. I think Mike Hugh, that's a very automatic deal. He's almost an 80 overall, only 24 with the star dev. Yeah, I mean, we could think of O'Neal just because he's 25. How much better is he going to get? But still, he should top out 83, 84, something like that before he hits that wall. And that's not bad. That's a solid starting tackle. So we'll give new contract offers to O'Neal and Smith and make sure we can retain them. And in year 2, pretty much the exact opposite. It was a very, very bad division. There was a point in time 2 weeks ago that we all had 7 wins. Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, and Green Bay, and we lost our final 2 games to go 7-9. If we would have won them, could have found a way to make the playoffs, but you know, you gotta get results earlier in the year. You can't just always have it be, oh, the last 5 games we might turn it up, and then because if you just find a way to lose, like you see that Week 17 loss by field goal, close losses, it hurts you even more. So I mean, generally speaking, with the 2 years, Kirk Cousins not good enough. Probably need a quarterback. If there's a quarterback in this year's draft, I will draft. I mean, that's not a brutal. Only 3 picks. He was protected with the football, but there's just not enough going there. It's very much our running backs carrying the load here and not Kirk Cousins. But, I mean, that's not a bad – I would say generally that's a good year. But if I'm paying $100 million for a quarterback, I want great years minimum. No one really dominated from a receiving standpoint. Defensively, Kendricks, big year, 126 tackles, 7 TFLs, 3 sacks. Oh, that's brutal. That's not much better either. So the defense, Mike Zimmer, known for his defense. They did not really come to play with the number 10 offense in the National Football League, but the number 27 defense, that is unacceptable. I don't know what our job security is looking like. Russell Wilson's won back-to-back MVPs. Hey, I'll take that over Ryan Tannehill or Jameis Winston win MVP. In the NFC, I don't think we're going to see very many, if any, Minnesota Vikings here, but you never know. No one back-to-back years. We have no one. That's a little bit of a streak there. Usually we at least get something. So, yeah, we're kind of still here holding the bag as we get ready for the year 2 offseason into year 3 of the rebuild. That's a first. Never seen Derwin James in free agency, and that's not even like it looks like the Chargers are going to get him back, but okay. Who would be a really good get? Obviously, Leighton Van Der. That's a popular, like a $100 million contract. I don't really feel like throwing out. That could be an option. Could that be an option? Should that be an option? I don't know. Can we... A lot of money, though. We don't have enough. God damn it. I would think about it. If we were in a different scenario, I'll tell you right now, if we had a little bit more money, if I could even get out one competitive offer on Baker Mayfield, I would have done it. But, again, we don't have a whole lot of money. It's the downside of being a pretty solid team top to bottom like we are in Minnesota. I mean, you're looking at where we could get upgrades. Can't pay Van Der Esch, and no one else after that's really an upgrade. D-tackle 2. Maybe we get Vita Vea, but I have bias towards trying to develop James Lynch because I like him, and there's no one really else there that's a super big upgrade. At D-end, we could keep going with the young guy. There's no one here that's, Josh Sweat, but he's in that 2 years. Hutchinson can definitely catch up to that base. So yeah, we don't need. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. All right, I haven't really gone through my scouting. It's not due to get a quarterback though. Jesus, nothing there. We didn't even bother scouting them. But look at corners. They must have misheard me. I said quarterback, not corners, because there's goddamn near 6 first-round talent corners here. And for a draft recap, kind of continue the trend of good drafts for the Minnesota Vikings. In the first round, we got the best of, I thought, the bunch of that elite cornerback group in Dave Raymond at a UCLA. He's a 77 hidden dev. Not a perfect scheme fit, but goddamn, he's going to be a good player. Give me a dev trait. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I just kind of went BPA. Second round, we're going to need interior linemen. I think just kind of this guy here can play guard or center. Elfline, when Elfline or if Drew Samia, this guy could actually be a better guard than Drew Samia. So just trying to beef up the interior of the offensive line. We got a 71 wide receiver. More so now it's time to kind of prepare for life beyond Adam Thielen. We have Rashad Bateman. We have Justin Jefferson. But when Thielen retires, we need a next guy, and that could be Manning Arrington. You got a 70 tackle, 71 D tackle, 67. Go with the tallest special teamers. 6'4" punter, came out 72. I think he was number 17 or 18 in true talent. And then I got a goddamn top 15 talent kicker, Oliver Rushing out of North Dakota. I mean, he's not gigantic, but every other kicker was under 6 feet tall. 73. Let's go. Year 3 with the Minnesota Vikings, and we're up to an 83. We went up 2 points overall, so my roster building is starting to come together just a little bit. Still big questions about quarterback. Really, that's the biggest question, is really the quarterback spot. I'm happy with our skill position players. I think our offensive line is very much a work in progress. That backup center, there was a 76. It actually went up to a 77 guard, so he will be taking over Samia, even though Samia is a scheme fit. Defensively, line remains the same. Secondary, we're going to bring in that number. I think, what was he? I can't remember what I said. Number 3? 2 or 3 in true talent. Corner. He's going to have a massive year, but my God, Anthony Harris got hit with that regression bug. Not looking great in that contract. There's only 1 year left. So I moved Holton Hill, who's kind of buried on the depth chart there, had solid tackling. I think could make the move to safety, and he's a 1 point and scheme fit. So I think we have our new free safety here in Holton Hill. And optimism here in year 3, obviously, first and foremost, baby steps. Let's get back into the playoffs. We might get fired. We might not outlast the Kirk Cousins contract. That's not working out because he's not. But it looks like if we do survive, we probably have a high pick if there's a quarterback to get one. Contracts. Alrighty. What do we got? Well, I'll tell you right now, we survived the Kirk. Bye. Get out of my team. Good. Okay, we get Garrett Bradbury. We'll keep him until he's 30. Man, he was an old player coming out. It's already 27. Irv Smith, 5-year deal by all means. We need to get him a dev trade. That's probably the biggest surprise, even more so than the struggling. Tight ends, normal dev tight ends, just like normal dev safeties, always get dev trade scenarios. I have yet to see one with Irv Smith. It's ridiculous. But I will try to resign, obviously. Especially because we moved on and traded Kyle Rudolph. We kind of made that commitment. 2-year deal, Michael Pierce, not bad at all. I mean, he'll still have a fairly high rating at the end of that. So we'll make sure we can hammer out a deal with Irv Smith, and that's about it. Thank God. Kirk Cousins' era is over. All right, the best news about the end of year 3 is that we're still not fired, which is good. We have 1 more year. We can at least kind of go all in next year with a brand new quarterback. I guess the gamble will come. Is there going to be one in the draft, or do we have to, now with money, hopefully there's another like Baker Mayfield type tier guy, potentially. For our dev traits, we had a hidden dev on our corner that was number 3 player in a true talent, and he emerged out as a star dev. Not exactly what we're looking for. I didn't even highlight that Anthony Barr went up to an X Factor during the offseason. Very lackadaisical. But, yeah, only a star dev. That stings just a little bit, especially given the success of the year. Kirk Cousins, again, that's, It's not good enough. Our running attack was pretty good. I also extended a contract to Madison. I feel like that's a good 1-2 punch that I kind of want to keep together. Receiving Thielen, 900 yards. No one else really did a whole lot. Defensively, Eric Kendricks, big year. From a sack standpoint, 9 from Hunter. I guess I'm not going to overly react to that, but, you still want to see more accurate numbers. Winston, Jameis Winston's your MVP. And then for your individual awards, not one goddamn Viking. Again, 3 years with not one guy an award winner. I mean, I guess this is just always going to scare us away. There's another, Baker Mayfield tier type guy here in Drew Lock, but it's still a $100 million quarterback. I can't pay that, knowing that there's just as good of a chance that he will pay out as a $120 million quarterback as there will be a draftable guy at the QB position in the draft with our first round pick. So, and it's a brutal free agency class outside of that. Everyone's like 35 plus at positions of need. So we're just going to dip. It would be a great year if you needed a running back, though. But unfortunately, we have one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. Pretty nervous draft. Really good draft. We had, looking at the back end there, we got a 72 tackle in the 6th round. Some solid picks. No real bad picks. But it's really the 1 and 2. Eric Smith is going to be our new quarterback. Number 13 true talent, 72 hidden dev. I was going to draft him my first round pick. I had pick 4. And I was like, there was 2 quarterbacks that had mid-first round grades, and I just gambled that knowing the Madden Sim, these guys were going to be there in the 2nd round, especially at least pick 4 in the 2nd round, and we got him. So we got Eric Smith. I do want to try to find out the other quarterbacks rating because that will be something I want to compare. But Eric, he's going to be our starter. USC, I mean, they have a history of making first-round quarterbacks, highly regarded quarterbacks. Have they panned out in the NFL, really outside of Carson Palmer? And I mean, can't write the ship on, write the book. And you can't write the book, and hopefully he writes the ship, Sam Darnold for the Jets. But it would be nice to get a nice USC quarterback because at pick 4, I clearly saw the number 1 true talent. As much as I like James Lynch, James Lynch could still be a long-term player for us because Michael Pierce is only on a 2-year. But this guy, we got number 1 player, true talent, Derrick Oliver out of Michigan, 79 hidden dev. He's a beast, 6'6", 300 pounds, monster. And I think that dev trait's gonna be pretty good. Quarterback we passed on, Glenn Bynes. He actually went in the 3rd round. Okay, 72 hidden dev, pretty much the same type. I just want to see star. Just show me star. It's a star. Okay. All right. I feel good. I'm calm. I'm relaxed. Let's get into year 4 with a brand new quarterback. Year 4 for this rebuild marks a new era. We're actually up another overall point. We've somehow got better losing Kirk Cousins. We're going to be going with Eric Smith. Their 2nd round pick will be our starting quarterback. Offense, I mean, you're starting to see regression here in Adam Thielen. I think that's the only guy, though, that's faced regression. Elfline has definitely hit a wall, like a ceiling. But everyone else generally is still trending in the right direction, so I'm happy with the offense. Maybe could use a superstar. Or, I think Irv Smith could go up a dev trait. If we could get a Jefferson or a Bateman to go up to a superstar, that would be ideal. And obviously, with Eric Smith, you want that dev trait to be, not star. But that star, it's not the end of the world. Defensively, things remain exactly. We're seeing regression, big regression. Anthony Barr, big regression. Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith regression is not brutal, but it's still a thing that's happening. We got a lot of depth at corner. D-line is really, really solid. Excited to see what Oliver can do. Excited to see what his dev trait is. I'm gonna be so mad if it's a star. If I get a 2-star devs between Oliver and Smith, I'm not gonna be a happy camper. Too early to get a true read on the season. We're 1 and 2 at the week 4 bye, which is not great, especially seeing Green Bay and Detroit where they're at. But hopefully the new quarterback can at least buy us a little bit of job security. Finish with a respectable finish. Contracts, first of all, we get Daniil Hunter. I don't know why the computer keeps signing guys, but we had Tony Pollard. There's never a bad time to sign Tony Pollard, but we do not need him. Hunter, 100%. 4-year deal, $80 million, worth it. Whatever you want, pretty much I'll pay you. You're the only guy that can have a chance at hell getting double-digit sacks. Justin Jefferson, give you 5-year deal. Sure thing, no worries about it. Same with Jeff Gladney, 5-year deal. Maybe not 5. Jeff Gladney was an older draft pick, so we'll go 4, keep him until he's 30. I still feel like Anthony Barr. Ooh, that's a little expensive. Ezra Cleveland, we can give you probably a 5-year deal. If you'll take it, kiss my ass. What a dick. Yeah, we got some questions here for the linebackers. I mean, Kendricks and Barr still, they got the dev traits, or they got the abilities, but I don't know. I think it's time to move on from Anthony Barr. That Kendricks, look, it's The Kendricks one's a lot more affordable, so I think what I'm going to do is we'll take that Anthony Barr money and literally be able to re-sign Kendricks and Troy Dye for pretty much the same amount. I gotta recreate this. I gotta recreate my act. So here we are. I'm just simming, right? We've won actually a bunch of games in a row. We're 6-2. I was just here going through my players, upgrading them, and I went to Eric Smith, and he's played enough. And he's an X Factor! Pro reads! Yes! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! I wonder if the D tackle got unlocked yet, though. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've just been kind of like odd. I auto spend for players that I know aren't scheme fits, and Smith is not. That's awesome. And what is ooh, number one player, true talent, turns out to be 82 super. Man, I always thought that when you got those ratings and stuff, like the true talent ratings, it took the X Factor ability into account. But I mean, a superstar, right? I guarantee Eric Smith might be the only superstar player, and he was 11th, 12th in true talent. So maybe something I thought all along, I just assumed in Madden 20 was that the dev trait played into your true talent value. I guess not. Maybe it's just your base overall. But goddamn, feel good about this. And at the end of year 4, we're in the playoffs. Didn't get a divisional title. Oh, that would have been nice to get one, but tied with Bears. They had the tiebreaker. Let's get that plus 20 more Al boost from our GM. I feel like that has some sort of influence. Oh, we didn't even get it. Well, we have Aaron Smith coming up saying it might be his final. I mean, how many times does this actually follow through, right? You get that one, and they're back for like 3 more years. So I don't know how much validity to put in it, but there's a chance, I guess, Harrison Smith retires at the end of this run, which would be less than convenient. But as you saw, man, home runs. One of our best drafts, getting an X-Factor quarterback, getting a superstar D-tackle. Exactly the kind of draft that we needed. And how did we get here, 10-6? How did the young guy do? In Eric Smith's first year as a start, oh my God, not good. I mean, okay, well, there you go. I guess full kudos to Madden. That is a realistic rookie season out of our quarterback. I assume Dalvin Cook was insane. 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns. No, it wasn't insane. Maybe was it our defense that got the job done, potentially? Defensively, let's see. Eric Kendricks, a lot of tackles. Sacks are a little bit down. That's a big year from Derrick Oliver, though. Good to know that we're going to be able to get that kind of pressure from a D tackle. Interceptions are up a little bit. I don't know what happened here. 13th offense. I mean, I guess that's a big part to our rushing attack. It's almost like the Minnesota Viking AP years. But we had the number 1 defense. There you go. That Mike Zimmer defense getting the job done. Trey Lance won the MVP for the Denver Broncos. In the NFC, Offensive Player of the Year went to Jameis Winston. Chaz Surratt, Defensive Player of the Year. Eric Smith, Offensive Rookie of the Year. But there's no dev trait that you could have. Derrick Oliver, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Would love this small chance that he goes up a dev trait. And then for the rest of the individual awards, hey, we're the best kicker. Cool. Hopefully Madden 21, there's ways to have kickers and stuff go up dev traits for winning awards. But here in year 4, let's make some damage. So we got some job security. First mission accomplished. We got some job security from the horrible Kirk Cousins years. That should buy us, at least another couple seasons. But let's go on a run here with the young guy. Let's get that first playoff win under the belt here of the Eric Smith. My God, that's the most generic white guy name ever. But the Eric Smith era in Minnesota. Defense, number 1 defense. I mean, they've done their job. 2 field goals and 2 red zone attempts until they just kind of gassed. Oh, my God. I mean, again, did Trey Lance win MVP? We're going up against the MVP? Oh, no, he was on Denver. Either way, this is embarrassing. Come on, offense. The defense has been playing its guts out for 3.5 quarters, and you guys have managed like 12 points. Not even. Oh, my God. Well, at least we got job security for making the playoffs, and we can give them hell in year 5. I mean, there's going to be no stats to look at here. Quarterback, yeah, got outplayed by Marcus Mariota. Cool. All right, so we actually have some money to potentially spend here, and it's time to retool our secondary. We got Xavier McKinney hitting the market, 25.85 star dev, and Antoine Winfield Jr. It's time to bring him home. That would be a huge get. I think I'm going to go, we have 6,000 points. I'll go buy the DB free agency package. We already have it. So, actually, I might as well just spend it on those couple ones. I mean, that'd be huge. That would be huge to just completely fix our safety tandem because, it got old. It got old and they regressed, unfortunately. Harrison Smith talked about retirement. Okay, we didn't get McKinney, but we get Antoine Winfield bringing him home. That's an exciting signing. Very bad draft in terms of talent. Pulled a little bit of Philadelphia Eagles trying to be a quarterback factory because this quarterback had one of the best like pure skills that I've seen. But I simmed out after the 3rd round. I traded our 4th round pick. But as you put it this way, we got a 72 normal. He was number 12 in true talent. As soon as I saw that, I was like, probably should just sim out of this one for what we can. But this quarterback here, Antoine Curry, 76 hidden dev, was number 3 in true talent. Clearly very happy with our quarterback. Let's just trade bait. We could definitely recoup the 2nd round, the late 2nd round pick that we invested in Curry. We could probably flip him for a 1st. We could flip him for maybe a starter at another position. So it was just, a little bit of Philadelphia Eagles QB factory. However, we did get an exceptional play here. Clay Davis, 75, exceptional. I say that with the dev traits there. It is what it is. But I think more so, I think he could transition to be an outside linebacker, could be an edge. So it's just a solid death move on what was generally a very weak draft, especially at positions of need. That easy. Didn't have a single damn linebacker to replace Anthony Barr, and we're able to flip Curry for Adam Anderson. I think he's 24, 81, probably in a contract year with the Cleveland Browns, but we had like a 64 starter. So we flipped him 81. He's 81 star dev, only 24. Not really a scheme fit, but now we got to go peek. Now we got to go see what dev trait that QB just had. I mean, he was a really good looking player. Don't know why they just. Well, I guess. Please don't be X Factor. If he's X Factor, I'm gonna know right away. We probably should have waited. He's not a superstar. I mean, he's a hell of a player. I'm generally happy with that move. Look at the rest of our team. Might as well do that right now. Look at the rest of our team. Offensively, no real changes. Just continue to see the Thielen regression. O-line remains the same. Defensively, now we have Anderson coming over. Linebacking core went from being the strength of this team to like, it's been better. But we got Winfield at free safety. Harrison Smith at strong. Corners remain the same. D-line is still trending in the right direction with Hunter and Oliver being the 2 big dogs. Year 5, definitely think we should be able to make the playoffs and hopefully get a couple playoff dubs for Eric Smith. 4-1, exactly where we really want to be here. But tops of the division, feeling good about ourselves. Contracts. First up, we didn't just trade away a potential franchise quarterback to let the guy go that we brought in, and at least that's even like less money than what a 79 Anthony Barr wanted, wasn't it? I feel like it was. Maybe not. I don't know. Memory sucks. Harrison Smith, 2 a year. I mean, he said he was going to retire, but he's still here. So if he wants a 2 year, by all means. I feel like we can draft Michael Pierce's replacement. I definitely want Rashad Bateman to still be here, though. We'll give him a 4 year, just under $30 million. Have to come back with him. Thielen. I mean, he can just be our slot wide receiver, right? Just put the slow guy in the slot. Should work out well. Hutchinson has, replaceable level production. I think we could probably bring back Thomas Graham, though, under $3 million cap hit. Still has a dev trait. Upside is clearly there. So we got him locked up, and I definitely, I think I want Thielen, I want Bateman, and we'll try to bring Harrison Smith back on a 2 year. And at the end of year 5, we put together really our best season yet, 10-5-1. It is our 2nd divisional title, 2 in 5 years. It's not brutal. And we got that 1st round bye, so we can kick our feet up during the wild card week and find out we will be taking on the 10-6. Oh, the Panthers again. Okay, Marcus Mariota, I believe, is their quarterback. I don't know if he still is. There's probably some turnover there. But, all right, Eric Smith played better. I mean, no one's really, I don't think we've had a quarterback yet through 5 years go over 30 touchdowns. Maybe that's just the offense that we got here. Because that's kind of like Kirk Cousins' best year. Running the ball, Dalvin Cook, beast. I mean, it is what it is by this point. No dominant receiver again. God, I hope that gets fixed in Madden 21. Defensively, a lot of tackles. Troy Dye, 114 tackles, 3 picks. 113 tackles for Kendricks, 2 picks. 104 tackles, Jeff Gladney, 3 picks. Anytime my corner goes over 100 tackles, he goes up dev trait. So keep an eye on Jeff Gladney getting that 27, 28-year-old dev trait upgrade. 7.5 sacks, Oliver, 7 from Hunter. I mean, it is what it is. Interceptions, 8 picks, Mike Hughes. See, this will be like one of those things. You're going to see the issue. And supposedly this was fixed in Madden 21 in that laughable what you're getting features list. But clearly, you look at Jeff Gladney, 104 tackles, 3 picks. You look at Mike Hughes, 94 tackles, 8 picks, as well as 8 TFLs. You're like, Mike Hughes surely will be going up a depth trait from star to superstar. I'm not going to guarantee, but I'm almost certain that if someone goes up a depth trait, it's going to be Jeff Gladney just because he got the tackles. That is so brutal, though. 8 picks. Hopefully they both get them. Hopefully somehow, some way that it corrects itself and both those guys go up depth trait because they had exceptional years. Deshaun Watson is the MVP. Mike Hughes, Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, he might get the depth trait just based off of that. For individual awards, we had DB of the Year. That's cool. 2 guys in the top 5 for DB of the Year. And we made the playoffs. So very happy. Everything pretty much went as good as humanly possible. Here in year 5, let's keep that going with a win. Avenging our last playoff loss against the Carolina Panthers. We haven't been offensively a good sim team. Defense has kept us in games. And they just gave up an instant touchdown to Carolina. But our offense has not shined at all. I don't think. How many games we had? 3? 2. We've had 2 playoff games to this point. We had one with Kirk Cousins, I think year 1. And then obviously we had last year. But our offense has struggled, which is not good. Our defense has done a good job. But our defense, of course, not having a good job right now. Giving up 34 points, but we still kind of... Nah, it's over. God damn it! Why are you making this so hard to enjoy? Well. How are you going to give Jalen Hurts almost 94% completion percentage? Oh, my head hurts of this bullshit. So I just simply had to see if we can get some goddamn good news to end this rebuild. And see if we got some dev traits. So on offense, not one dev trait, but I want to see the corners. I want to see Gladney go up a dev. Yes! Jeff Gladney and Mike Hughes both going up a dev trait. 2 new superstars into that secondary. Troy Dye went up a dev trait from normal to a star. All right. I mean, we got everything to play for in part 2 of the rebuild. That will be coming out to you guys Sunday afternoon. And our team's definitely continue to trend in the right direction. We've grinded our way from an 80 overall through 5 years, basically a point a year. And we survived the Kirk Cousins contract. So we've done a good amount here. 2 divisional titles, survived Kirk Cousins contract, and got some reloaded stars on this team. I mean, obviously we don't have the same level. Oh man, Thielen retired. We don't have the Thielen Diggs just yet, but a dev trade or 2 here or there will be sitting pretty. But the defense is coming along. Happy with that. So that's gonna have to wrap it up here for today. You know, what an annoying loss that was. But, you know, that's what happens. It's what happens. So we'll be back for part 2 and hopefully can turn this around and end up being a successful rebuild by winning a Super Bowl. That does it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace